I'm here with Matt of Primal Fear. My first time chatting with you on the channel. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to have you. It's really I cannot put to words how excited I am to talk to you about this record. You're one of the few people in Primal Fear that I have never had the chance to really sit down and talk about the music, the band, and what a way to start with this album called Domination that comes out September 5th on RPM. And this album dominates. What a strong record. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Pedro.
What's the secret to the longevity and success of Primal Fear?
Motivation,
You
the
guys are
love of
still as hungry
music,
now as you were before?
the love of music. And yeah, this time there were some special motivation. And the chemistry was so creative and peaceful that in the end, we could create this album.
The album has such a great sound to it. It fills the room. I when I was listening to it, I felt like I was in an arena. It has like this big arena space sound. Did you guys work with the normal people you normally work with when it comes to the production and of the record?
Yes, uh, a little different, but in the end, for the final mix, this time, Ralph and me, we were joining Jacob Hansen in Denmark to mix the album because last time he mixed alone, which was anyway great. But this time for us, it was a special situation, and we wanted to squeeze out really the best we could do in this period. And so we were going to Denmark and we mixed the album together, of course. Jacob was responsible for his basic equipment and setup, and we put our ideas together, and it worked out phenomenal. It was really great. I really like the clearness of everything, and on the other side, it still has the power.
You said it. The album is so crisp. The sound on the album is so crisp, but it just because it's crisp, it doesn't lose any of its raw power. It's still heavy. The guitars are heavy, the drums are heavy, and your bass sounds phenomenal.
Thank you.
I was like, wow, like the bass sound on this record. Normally, when you listen to a more of a power metal driven sounding album, the bass doesn't get as much space as the guitars, obviously, and as the vocals. But I thought you guys gave the bass so much room on this record, which added a little bit more grooviness to the sound, but it also gave the sound a little bit more thickness. Was that your intention to begin with?
The first thing I have to tell you about this was there were some albums in the past where you don't really hear what the bass is playing loud and clear. It was there, but it was totally in the mix, and you can't justify where it is. And if you shut it off, something was missing. But it was not the way I really liked it. So I worked on myself, I worked on my equipment and everything. And in the end, it's nice that Jacob and Ralph and Magnus, as a team, we understand each other very well, what the other guys want to do. And this is the result.
Wow. I think you guys hit it out of the park with this one. It's always strange. Whenever I get a press release, everybody always says, the latest records, the band's best record. They've outdone themselves. When I look at the discography and the history of Primal Fear, this is your 15th record. It's hard to surpass some of the classics, but this album to me is definitely one of the best sounding albums that you guys have ever done. I would put it in the
Yes.
top three of all time as far as being one of the best sounding albums. Is it fun for you that after all these years you can still release an album that is as good as this one is, and you're not necessarily reinventing the wheel of what's done in the past?
You never know when you started the production. We wrote 25 songs, skipped down to 15. Take these 15 songs, starting with the drums. We record the drums very old school in a huge room with a great engineer, Dennis Ward, and Andre and me. Uh, we worked hard on the drums because the drums with this kind of music is the foundation of everything. If the drums is sloppy and shit, so save your money, don't record guitars, go home. So so the drums are very important. And we worked hard on the drums and we're very happy about the sound. It's really very natural, not only triggered and too modern. It's pumping and it's powerful. And then we could build up on this cool drums all the other instruments and vocals.
The drums definitely have a very organic sound. They sound very natural to me, at least. I get that experience from it, which I felt like it gave great depth to the overall sound,
Yeah,
not making the sound itself feel very dense. You could still hear the guitars very crisp. You hear the bass very crisp, and the drums have a great impact, but they don't overlap all of the other elements. So it was a really well put together experience.
absolutely. And you need the right drummer, you need the right equipment, you need the right drums and the right engineer and the right microphones, and in the end, the right mixer to make this happen. And this time it worked in every department.
But how much of that is also comes from your experience and Ralph's experience and Magnus' experience? You guys have tons of knowledge between all of you. Do you feel like that also helps you guys now moving, not just on this record, but even moving forward into future albums?
Well, I can only tell you that the pre-production we do in is already worth a release sound-wise. So, but we want to squeeze out the last 10 to 20% in the studio to make it even better, 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 better. And if it would be my choice, I would still hang in the studio and fooling around and doing little things. And but people have to stop me and said, "Hey, this is it."
It's good.
Yeah, and this is the formula. And I think, uh, as I told you before, it was such a creative, peaceful progress. I'm writing songs with Magnus since 16 years now. We're like an old couple, yeah. And we know each other so well and so friendly and cool with each other. And Ralph puts on his ideas and comes also up with some own riffs and stuff like that. He improved even now in his later career, like a good guitarist, for example. So he plays also some riffs and stuff. So and we bring it all together, and it's the most possible joy you can imagine.
Which then translates to great music. Now, you guys have two new band members on this record. How was bringing them into the family that it is Primal Fear? Was it an easy process or easier than what you thought it would be?
One, yes, because I worked a lot with Andre in the past on other projects, and he already played the last European tour of Primal Fear. So this was not a big deal. And the other thing was the second guitarist. It was like we in social media times, so the news was spreading a lot, yeah. not from our side, more from the side of the other guys. And we didn't want to make a big thing out of it, but uh, it was everywhere to find that there is a second guitarist needed in Primal Fear, and we got a lot of great offers from guys we know. Uh, the people know that Primal Fear produce under great circumstances. They go on tour with a good crew and a great bus and good venues, well paid. So people were interesting in this job. But then my partner Ralph came and had a crazy idea. He saw that girl from Italy, and as he told me for the first time about Talia, I was like, huh? What? I couldn't imagine a girl playing guitar in Primal Fear, and she's much younger than we are. And how can this work? But on the other side, I slept one night. On the next morning, I thought, I love surprises. And this was a move. I think it was a surprise for everybody. And nobody thought about we're doing that kind of decision. So we checked her out in the rehearsal studio. Can she play all that stuff? It's Primal Fear. You're listening to that. Okay, you recognize it. But if you have to play the guitar and the solos, you see, it's really a challenge. So first thing, she has to play this. Second, from the personal side of thing, she has to fit to us because after all what happened, we don't want to change musicians in the next 6 months. Okay, you never know, but our target is to keep this together as long as possible. So when we checked it out, and it was really, really a surprise to me how good it was. And she's a very cute and a nice person, very positive, always smiling, good playing. So what? Yeah, let's do it. And as we published it on social media, we reached numbers we never been before. So for 98% of the people, it was a very positive feedback we got. And, on the internet, always 2% idiots who are telling you, oh, a girl has nothing to with primal fear, and she's colored, she's not a white woman, and for fuck, what is going on? So forget it. I doing this for so many years now. This can't hurt me anymore. But as I said, the most of the feedback was very positive. Then we were going into the studio with her. She recorded guitars. We recorded the videos together in Sweden this time with Patrick Ulaeus, very famous video maker. And it was fantastic. I was feeling better after some years of fighting against some health problems. And then we had our first show. So it was like for me, I didn't know what I can expect from myself. It was not only that there was Talia on guitar or Andre on drums. There was, for me, it was like the first show after 4.5 years. The last show I did was with Alice Cooper in in Berlin in 2020. So this big break, I didn't know what to expect. Could I play the whole show without having any trouble singing, playing, constitution? Does it work? And it worked. And everybody was so happy afterwards. Only smiling faces and uh, the best vibe you can imagine. Then we played two more shows. The third show is the third show in Italy was the best so far. And this weekend now we have two more festival shows in Germany, one and one in the UK before our European tour starts, and the album will be released. So for us, it's exciting times.
Busy times, busy times. I've known her work for a long time from previous bands that she's been with, besides Angus Six, but previous bands even to that. And I always felt like she was such a good, strong, outstanding guitar player, but I've always felt like she needed a platform to really showcase everything that she has. And I think you guys have definitely given her that platform. So it's one of those things that she makes the band better, but the band makes her better as well. So both parties have something to gain from being together. At least that's how I see it. And it's visible on this album, her work.
Yeah, and for me, I have to add that it's very important that she fits to the characters of the others. So it has to work, yeah. And it's fantastic. I can't feel any better.
Yeah, I think it was you can say that it was an outside the box decision by you guys. I definitely didn't see it coming. I was
You're not the only
surprised.
one.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming at all. But when you guys announced it, I was like, what a great choice. I never in a million years would have guessed it. But wow, you guys really picked a good one. Like, because she's really a strong guitar player. I want to go back to your bass because you mentioned about previous records, the sound not being exactly where you want it to be. When you look at your work bass wise on any given record, but on this one, because it's so predominant on this one, do you have a game plan coming in terms of what you want your bass, not just the sound, but the impact that you want to have in the songs?
Mm, I think as a bass player, you should be a team player. It should be the best for the overall sound. And if I'm thinking the volume of my bass is too low in the mix, I will do this. Stop. Give me 2 dB more. And but overall, if it's fine, it's fine. So, but it has to have an impact on the album so that you hear it. You have to hear the bass. And I don't like albums where the bass is there, but you don't really recognize what the guy is playing.
Yeah, I felt that on this album. I already recorded my review, by the way. And on my review, I mentioned that the bass felt like a third guitar, truly like a third guitar on this album. And I think that gives the record so much more richness of sound.
Enough compliments. Thank you.
I love this record. I think you guys like knocked it out of the park. I hate to say this because it sounds cliche, but it's my favorite Primal Fear record. I don't think you guys ever sounded this good.
Thank
It
you.
just sounds amazing. Now, you mentioned the tour. You guys are going to go on a very long European headlining tour, and I know you also done an interview where you mentioned about touring in North America and the costs associated with that, and how that makes life really difficult for a band like Primal Fear to tour in North America. Um, do you see any light at the end of that tunnel, the way things are going, or bands these days, not just Primal Fear, European bands will have to resort to just tour in Europe, Asia, anywhere else but North America?
Well, Pedro, the thing is, we toured in America 7 times from the East Coast to the West Coast and back to Canada and back to America. And we did this. For us, we're not craving to to do it again because it's the first time for a band. I could imagine if you haven't done it as the band, it's very important that you do it and that you can make a little impact. So the US are our second best-selling market. It's very important. But if you already toured 7 times in the US and the financial risk at the moment is that high for us that if something is going wrong, in any case, yeah, like visas, working visas, or immigration or whatever, then the band is bankrupt because we don't collect money before we go into America. All the promoters want to see us there, and then they pay. We always got paid, never had a problem to get paid, but we get paid when we play, and not before. And all the costs before is our risk. And with the current situation, like you see, for example, I followed the postings of the Prog Power
Rock Power
Festival in
USA. Yeah.
Atlanta. What Glenn has a lot of problems with that, and um, for us, it's at the moment it's a big risk. We just want to come and play and go home again and have a good time with the fans who want to see us. And if this is not possible, then we have to wait if something is changed, uh, or we have to be make very strict consequences for us, which is sad, very sad. And for us, it would be so nice to come back and play a tour, but at the moment, it's too risky. Everybody should understand this. And there was such a funny comment on Blabbermouth. Of course, Blabbermouth. He said, such a stupid guy. Yeah, that's to prevent America of the European shitty music. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. But there are a lot of people we already had in our concerts in America who had a lot of fun. We were very welcomed, and it would be for us a super pleasure to come back. But at the moment, we have to find out how we can manage it.
I hope first of all, that's one of the dumbest comments I have
Great.
ever.
That's why I mentioned it. Thank you.
It's like, wow, like okay, there's a lot of there's a lot of shitty music in the US that doesn't need to get a visa to perform. They're
Yeah,
local.
but
They're just
I
shitty
think it
local.
was such a great comment. I was
It almost needs a t-shirt. Somebody make a t-shirt with that stupid comment. Uh, I just hope that, in the future, if something doesn't happen in the US, at least Canada, because we don't require the expensive visas. So maybe in the future, there will be an opportunity for you guys to come to Canada and play some shows here. If not, you're going to force my arm and my hand and make me buy a plane ticket at some point in time and come and see you guys in Europe. I travel to Europe quite frequently, so it's just a matter of lining up one of the dates that I travel to with one of the shows that you guys are performing to come and see you guys. I have never seen you guys live, and I need to do that before I die.
you can be sure I'm not paying your flight, but you're on my guest list.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. That's more than I could ask for. So if I'm in the same town as you guys, or if you guys are playing, and I decide to come, I'll definitely reach out to you and get my name on that guest list. Matt, thank you very much for your time today. This was very short notice. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me about this phenomenal record by Primal Fear, Domination, out September 5th on Reigning Phoenix Music. Have a wonderful tour. It's going to be a long one, so stay safe, stay healthy, enjoy your time with your friends, with your family on this tour run. Have fun with the fans and enjoy the fruits of your labor and of your work. This album. Uh, Best album by Primal Fear ever. I know it sounds cliche, but I fucking love it.
Thank you. So what can I say? I love to hear it, and it's the biggest compliment you can give me.
Thank you. Take care. All the best.
Ciao, Pedro. Ciao.